everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and this is going to be short, I hope, because I'm really tired. It has been a super long day, but there was some good stuff, and right now I'm just feeling really crappy, and so in the interest of honesty, because I don't want you to just see the good parts of what I'm going through, I want you to see the bad parts, so I decided to get on right now. I'm not going to do any crafting. I might just kind of like flip through this as I'm talking so that you have something to look at. Okay, so today was, oh my gosh. Okay, so I work 6 days a week. Today was my day off, and so we went, my mom and dad, which I'm so grateful to have them here. My mom and dad took me up to Jonesboro, Kingsport, where the accident took place. We had to go to the mortuary so that I could get Bill's wedding ring, which actually I had on my finger until I took a shower just a few minutes ago. And I'll probably wear, I might need to get it sized or something, I'm not sure. And, you know, sign the papers for him to be cremated, which was hard, really hard. And I know this probably sounds crazy because it's like he's dead, and so what can be more final than that? But signing those papers for his cremation made it feel really final, in a scary way. And maybe receiving his ashes might be worse, although I think there's going to be some comfort in getting those ashes and being able to bring them home with me. I'm planning to have them put into an hourglass. Bill and I hadn't really decided on urns, but we had been looking at that as a possibility, and I really like that. So I think that I'm going to probably do that, and then I can just have him here, have his body, his burned up body here. It's not him, but for some reason it just seems like it will feel comforting. So I'm going to do that. So anyway, so I signed on that, and my dad paid for that for me, and I'm planning to pay him back. But that made it so we could get it done. I probably shouldn't have said that, but just, you know, it made it so we could get it done. Otherwise I was going to have to wait until I got insurance and everything else. Which it's okay. That's one of the really frustrating things with this is like the fact that you have to live this life, which means that you have to deal with money. And so you need that insurance payment, and you don't want to be thinking about money. You want to be thinking about your husband. You want to be thinking about the fact that you no longer have him, and that should be the only thing that matters, and money shouldn't matter, but it's like it has to. And so it's just very frustrating, and there's part of me that just really could care less because I don't have my husband anymore. And I just want him, but I have to still live in this stupid freaking life. And that's how I feel right now, and I'm just being honest because I don't want you guys to just see the good stuff. I still completely trust God. I know that he loves me. I just don't understand it right now, and it's really hard. So anyway, one thing that happened at the mortuary that was really good was that it kind of came out casually. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. I'm trying to figure out like how much information to give you guys without grossing you out. In some of the pictures that I saw, it looked like the cab had been ripped off, and it looked like then the truck was upside down a ways from where it looked like the cab had ripped off. And so I thought maybe he had slid across the ground like that with no protection, nothing between him and the ground. And it was just like, I've been having nightmares, and I can't bear the thought of him suffering that. And it's just been really horrible. Well, what I found out was that that's not what happened at all. What that metal was they had cut the car open, the pickup truck open to get him out. They'd used the jaws of life to get him out, and they had thrown that aside, you know, to get it out of the way. So that was a huge relief. I mean, it was just like, I thought I was going to faint just when I found that out because I was so overcome with gratefulness that it wasn't as bad as I had thought. And And I hadn't really felt like I could talk to people about how I thought that it was, because it's like, I don't think anybody wants to hear what I'm afraid happened. And so, yeah, anyway, so then the next thing that we needed to do was we needed to go to the wrecking yard. And, if this hadn't happened so far away, then these things could be done, like on different days so that you could just, deal with them emotionally and everything. But it happened so far away. So it's like you have to make a trip to go do it. And I only have one day off, and I really have to earn money. And so, so we just had to do it all in one day. And it was raining really hard. The visibility was bad. We could go 35 miles per hour on the freeway. I mean, it was just... And my dad was the one who was driving, so it was really stressful for him. I'm sure much more stressful than for me. And my mom, and, we're all kind of, I don't know about my dad, but my mom and I are kind of skittish right now about being in a car and, people almost pulling over, because of Bill being in the accident and stuff. So, anyway, so the next thing that we had to do was we needed to go to the wrecker. And we needed to get Bill's effects from the pickup truck. And the trooper had told me he didn't want me to go do it. They have been so wonderful and so protective. And he said, you need to have somebody else do it. Well, the only person who could do it was my mom. And she's a woman too, I mean, it's like, and, here, again, think of what I told you that I thought had happened. So it was like, okay, so I thought through it last night. And I said, okay, I've got to have a strategy for this. And I decided that I needed to wear gloves and I needed to wear a mask, and I was going to wear clothes that I could throw away because there was probably blood all over the place, and maybe even flesh, and maybe brains and guts, and and my mom said she would be there with me, which was really, really nice. I mean, and she had volunteered to actually just do it without me even being there. So that's like incredibly brave. And I thought about just saying, I don't need anything from the car. I don't want to deal with it. But I just had this really strong feeling that I would really regret it if I didn't. So, once they total the car, that's it. You can't get your stuff from it. And then also we didn't have his wallet, which meant like, who knows where his credit cards and stuff are, and there were pictures in there that, probably the only copies of those pictures and really special ones and stuff. And so I really wanted to find his wallet. And, old pictures, like of Beth when they were dating and, just stuff like that. And, anyway, so needed to find his wallet. So it was like, okay, we're going to go. So we got there, and the wrecking people were pretty nice. Maybe a little calloused, but they were nice. They deal with this all the time, so they're not super sensitive. They took us, and there was this young guy there, Sid. He was the sweetest guy ever. He was really quiet. I could barely hear him talking. But he insisted on digging through stuff. He didn't want me to touch anything. He got gloves, and he went through and did it. But here's the thing. There was no blood, no guts, no flesh, nothing like that. And they hadn't cleaned it up. Okay, I was so glad that I went, because the cab was there. The passenger side was smashed all the way down. I mean, if I had gone with him as I was supposed to, I would have been killed, which I have really mixed feelings about, to be honest. There's this part of me that knows that someday I will probably be grateful that I lived. There's this other part of me that just goes, all the more reason for me to have been with him, because I would have been killed instantly. I wouldn't have felt anything, at least not for very long, and I would have gotten to die with him, and that would just be like so much better. And please don't take this wrong. I'm not suicidal. I do not want a police officer showing up my door, you guys, so please don't report me as suicidal, because I'm not. But there's just this thing that is like, when you lose somebody like that, you don't want to keep living without them. You want to be with them. And I'm not going to do something to make that happen, but it was just like looking at that truck, I was just like, if I had been there, it just would have been so much better. And anyway, so his side of the cab was still intact. I mean, it was like definitely above where his head would have been. There was a little part like between the passenger side and his side that might have come in and bumped his head. But it looked like for the most part that protected him even when it was rolling. Okay. And then the airbag had deployed, and they said that he was wearing a seatbelt, and that the seatbelt was still on him when they extracted him with the jaws of life. So he probably wasn't like shaken around a lot or anything. I mean, still, if he was conscious, it would be absolutely terrifying. And I hate thinking of that for him. But at least it wasn't what I thought it was. Does that make sense? So that was a huge relief. And I'm really, really, really glad that I went and saw that truck. I am so glad. Because if I hadn't, then I would have kept thinking this horrible, horrible thing. And so anyway, so Sid, the young guy that was there, he, oh my word, he got in. He, you couldn't get in, but he managed to open up the doors. He managed to like reach in, and on Bill's side, he actually kind of like got in. He didn't get in, but he put the top part of his body in and looked around and everything. He sifted through stuff looking for the wallet. A lot of the stuff had flown out of the truck. And so they had put it all in the back of the truck, just thrown it in. So there was like pieces of the engine and pieces of the window and a couple Afghans and a bottle of wine that actually made it intact, unopened. Is just like completely kind of funny when all this other stuff broke. And just like, oh, he had a knife block with a bunch of knives, so those were like mixed in all through the thing, and we found his duffel bag and stuff, but it's like it was just all like thrown in there and all mixed in. And Sid went through, he moved each thing looking for the wallet. I mean, he was just like, oh my word, I wanted to bring that boy home and raise him, because he's just, well, he's already raised. I mean, his mama did a great job. That's what I want to say. It's like, oh my goodness, this boy is wonderful. So anyway, so that was really good and a real relief, but it was also really hard. I mean, I stood there and cried because this was my husband died in this pickup truck, and it was just it really shook me up seeing that too. So it's like, it's so hard to explain, but it was like this mixture of huge relief and horrible, horrible sense of loss. And through all this, and I'm crying through it, I actually stayed pretty calm for most of it, but I did break down and cry. Through all this, it's still feeling surreal. It's not feeling like, it's so hard to explain. It's like, I know I've lost my husband, and it's not just in my head. I am grieving horribly, but at the same time, there's just a sense of disbelief, like there's a mistake. Somehow there's a mistake here, and eventually it's going to show up, and he's going to walk through that door. And I know that is like completely, completely crazy. So, so also the charge nurse at the hospital had been looking for his wallet also. He was really, really helpful. So I called him and I let him know. I didn't tell you that we'd found it. Okay, so we didn't find it in the wreck. After we left there, we pulled over, and my dad suggested that I call the highway patrol. And, I just assumed that if they had the wallet, they would have like given it to me or let me know or something. Well, it turned out that they did have it. And they were just waiting for somebody to claim it, which, I don't know, that didn't make sense to me. They've been wonderful, so that's not a complaint at all. The troopers have been just amazing. I just can't quite figure out what that whole thing with the wallet was. But anyway, I got it. Found out that they had it, so I called the hospital and let the charge nurse know that we had found it, and he was really happy. He had just been really good about helping and stuff, and everybody has been wonderful. It's just been very, very, very good. So then we had the rain to deal with, so it took forever to get home already on this long trip. My dogs are in the house, because it's like, it's just me now. There's nobody else to take care of them. And so my dogs are in the house this whole time. And I get home half expecting there to be like poop and pee all over the place. And there wasn't. That was good. And, but it's pouring down rain and thunder and lightning. No way in heck are my dogs going out. So I've been trying to get them to go out. I've even taken each of them out on a leash. And you have to understand that I have mobility issues from Lyme. I have a really, really hard time walking, and especially getting up and down stairs. So I'm trying to hold a big flashlight in my hand. I'm trying to hold on to the banister. I'm trying to hold a leash of a dog that does not want to go down these slippery, slippery steps. And at the bottom of that, of course, are these huge mud puddles. And so I finally did get Penny down there, but she wouldn't go pee. She just wanted to go back in the house. So she was just straining at the leash, and I was so scared she was just going to pull me face first into the mud, which I know some of you are probably laughing because I know that sounds funny, but it's really stressful. So I know it sounds funny when I tell it, but it's not. And so I don't blame you for laughing. That's okay. Go ahead. I should be. Maybe I'll watch this in a couple weeks or maybe in a couple years and I'll laugh too. Okay, so anyway, so I did get Eli to go down with me, and he was pulling really hard, so I let him off the leash because he wasn't pulling towards the house. So I thought he's going to go someplace and pee. So I let go, and he walked just a little ways away, and he peed. So that was good. He didn't pee very much, though, so I'm still a little worried. And he usually gets up at least once in the night. Last night he got up twice and had to go out. And it's supposed to rain until noon tomorrow. So I'm afraid he's going to be getting up all night long. I'm not going to get any sleep. And then I have to start teaching at 5 a.m. I have 10 classes, so I teach until 10. And the dogs are not going to have gone out to pee. And he'll have gotten up several times in the night to go out, but won't go out. And that's what I'm afraid of. So, yeah. So here's the thing. I know that doesn't sound huge, but here's the thing. You're already grieving your husband, and then you have to deal with finances, and you have to deal with all the stuff that you have to do by yourself now, and you have to deal with stuff that just isn't fair, and it's hard. And so I'm sharing this with you guys because I said that I would be honest about everything. So I'm just sharing because I don't want you guys to think that I'm like some super spiritual giant who's just like flying above all this or something. I'm not. This is real. This is real, even though I'm not completely accepting yet that Bill's, I'm squeezing my words together, that Bill has died, despite all the evidence in front of me. So it's really stupid. I feel like such an idiot right now. I guess the other thing is that somebody said to me, and I'm not complaining about them saying this, this is a great thing to say, but I just want to tell you my reaction to it because this is just where I am today. Somebody said something to me about, that I'll get to see him again, in heaven, which is so, so true. And I really look forward to that, and that gives me some hope. But the thing is that I want him now. And it's like this life between now and then is just going to be so hard. And so it's a little bit of a comfort knowing that I'm going to see him, but it seems so far away. And I don't know what I'm going to do now because I don't have him. And it's just like, it's just so overwhelming. And I don't know, it's just hard to explain, you guys. It's like you've already had the worst thing imaginable happen to you. Why does all this other stuff have to be piled on top of that? And there's also, I don't know if I said this before or not, I feel really guilty for thinking this and for saying it. But again, I want to be open. I want to be transparent. There's this part of me that is just, I'm not mad. I just can't figure out why my husband had to be taken when he was so good. And there's men who beat on their wives or insult them all the time and are creepy and jerks and, and bad men. Why couldn't one of them have died? Why does it have to be my husband who was so wonderful? And that's really, really hard. That's hard. So, yeah, today's been difficult. It's been good, too. I mean, seriously, finding out about the truck was, like, huge for me. And just a huge relief that it wasn't as mind-blowingly horrific as I thought. It was horrible enough. It was horrible enough, and I hate that my husband had to go through what he went through. But I am so grateful that it wasn't what I thought. And so that's the good thing today. So what I'm going to do now, I just got out of the shower. I need to, I guess I'm not going to get dressed for bed because I still got to try to get Penny to go outside, and I'm going to have to go out with her. And there's always the chance that I'm going to get thrown into the mud. And if nothing else, I'm still going to get soaked. So, because the rain is really coming down. It's supposed to come down till noon. We're on flood warning. So, yeah, that's what it is. And I have no idea if I'm going to get any sleep tonight with Eli wanting to go out in the night and not being able to. I'm going to have to teach classes tomorrow for 5 hours, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. And, but I have a whole lot of people praying for me. I mean, seriously, my guess is about 2,000. I know for sure 1,000. My guess is 2,000. I don't know how that happened because I don't have that many friends, but there are people who are just so loving and kind that they will pray for a stranger. And I've had people I don't even know write to me several times in the past week telling me that they're praying for me. So they're praying for me over and over and over, and it's just like mind-blowing, mind-boggling, I just don't know. You don't even know what to do with it. And so it's encouraging. It's encouraging to know that people are praying for me. And it also, that gives me hope that maybe I can make it through the next 24 hours or 12 hours. And, oh gosh, you guys are going to be seeing this several days after I'm taping it. By the way, this is Monday, the 22nd of July. You're going to be seeing it several days after but so you can't, it doesn't really do any good to ask you to pray for me, and I'm not going to really share this with anybody else, but there will probably be similar things when you see this. So when you finish watching this, can you just say a prayer that God will help me through all these stupid little things? And, I just need to be able to just grieve my husband. I think that's part of the reason why it doesn't seem real to me, is because I'm dealing with all this other crap that I can't, it's just so overwhelming, and I don't have the time to just be here in the moment and really think about him. I have to deal with all these other urgent things like dogs needing to go pee and financial stuff and all that stuff. And it's like you just want the world to stop. Just stop and let me sit and be in this so that I can, so I can figure out how I'm going to live without him. And there needs to be like another planet that they can send you to when you lose somebody, so that you can just like live in a bubble for a while before you come back to real life. Real life shouldn't hit you with a vengeance right after this kind of thing. I mean, it's not just like normal life. It's like normal life plus 500 extra horrible things. And not to mention spiders in my office that I now have to deal with. I used to, I always screamed when I saw a spider, and Bill would come and he'd get it. And this was another one of our little rituals, was that, he'd always say, one of these days you're going to have to learn how to kill bugs yourself. And I'd say, well, then why did I marry you? So it's like, yeah, now I have to deal with the spiders too. On top of not having my husband, I have to deal with animals, I have to deal with spiders, I have to deal with finances, I have to deal with so much that I don't have any time. Why did God leave me here to live if I can't live? I've just got to deal with all this crap. So there you go. That's what I'm going to leave you with, crap. Sorry if I offended anybody. Like I said, I just want you to see it's not always so good. Not that it has not been good at all, but I think I've been doing fairly well. My faith is still intact, and I can't, it's like, you guys, that's part of what's scary too, is it's like my faith is intact right now, but is it going to be able to weather all of this? Is it? I hope so. Oh dear God, I hope so. And if you're praying for me, please pray that it will. Please pray that I stay faithful. But I'm scared because I don't know. I'm not strong enough. It has to be God's strength. I am not strong enough. I'm really not. Okay, so anyway, that's it. And I hope I haven't really depressed anybody or upset anybody with using a bad word or anything, or expressing my really bad thoughts. But this is reality, and I want you to know that. All right, I love you all. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.